Hey, Mark here. So, do you want to know what abilities to use on your team? Let's talk about it. Whether you're talking about franchise or MUT, which we're currently in right now, there's a lot of abilities in the game. For example, here's my tier list of them. We'll get to that in a second. We're going to talk through what to run maybe on offense, depending on your scheme. Defense, also depending on your scheme. There's a lot of different things to know, so let's just dive right into it. I think before I really want to dive into tier list, I want to talk about all the new abilities that EA added. Which are things that I'm not going to be able to rate. Like a lot of them right here are just out of the game. Like, you know, not too long ago, they just talked about it. Some of them are like new, but a lot of them are basically combinations of old abilities. For example, Backyard Quarterback, which I now have rated as S tier because it is in the game on Michael Vick. It is basically Hot Route Master plus Playmaker. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand how powerful Playmaker is because, you know, we haven't really gotten a lot until like near the end of the year, last couple of years, which I think is good. It's like so overpowered, really good against zone. Man coverage, it's not as good against, like it used to be incredible against it, like 16 era. But anyways, Hot Route Master, S tier, Playmaker, S tier. So one that combines it is even more powerful. But a lot of them are like that, and we'll have to see once they come into the game. We get them on certain cards. I'm not sure. Some of these are in franchise. I think Pass Committed is in franchise, and we'll talk about some franchise things and why like tank doesn't really matter if you're going to play in like franchise against the CPU, but online is also not that good anymore because people just throw strip tackles instead of hit sticks now because of the better chance at causing fumbles. Although I will say I've caused some fumbles lately with hit sticks, so maybe hit sticks are back. All right. Let's talk about this in the game. One thing I do want to say also, so Russ Grimm came out today, and he got this ability called Linchpin. I highly recommend going to abilities.fyi, I'll link it in the description, to take a look, because Linchpin says stronger blocking from all offensive linemen. But if you go to abilities.fyi, they have like the descriptors from the code. I think it's stripped from the PC version, and it says it's run shed timer. It's not pass shed timer. So run shed timer. This is only for runners. So it's a good ability if you are a runner because it increases the shed timer from all offensive linemen basically before everybody just sheds and get off the block, and therefore that happens. Guys shed and get tackles. So it's good, but only if you're on the ball. Not if you pass the ball. It's basically zilch on pass blocking, okay? So you just need to know that. So I have it basically B tier. It's higher tier if you're a runner, like worse tier if you're a passer. But I will say I'm mostly a passer, but I do probably run it 30% of the time. So it still has a little bit of value. It's only 1 AP, and there's not a lot of good 1 AP abilities in the game for MUT players. But let's go ahead and start on offense. We'll go to defense after that. Offense, the best offense abilities in the game, in my opinion, are pass velocity abilities. Now, for people that might have played this for a few years, Gunslinger no longer has pass velocity. It just quickens up the throw motion. So to get the fastest possible passes, you'll want set feet lead and Gunslinger. The issue a lot of times with that is the fact that you won't have any AP left for the rest of your offense. If you want some sort of slot apprentices, Jukebox, which is insanely powerful. Jukes are really good this year. With Jukebox, without Jukebox, they're wild, okay? So those are in the A tiers, or sorry, the S tier for me as far as that. Threat detector. There's a new one with like threat detector plus there's one that's threat detector and identifier. Omniscient. Whoops, I put that in the wrong category. Omniscient here. It's like threat detector plus identifier for only like 3 AP, but it's only on 1 card right now. I have not used it, but I'm guessing it's going to be S tier because it just looks the same. So those are my S tier offensive abilities. And I will say this list, you could use any ability depending on your scheme all the way through C tier. But anything lower than that, you're going to need a really good reason to run that. So that's just what overview. C tier and up, really usable. I think the same thing on defense, the same way when we get there. But we got a lot of apprentices, okay? Identifier, that goes into Omniscient. It allows you to see what your opponent... Like, here's the thing about Identifier. It's either incredibly powerful or essentially useless. Because if your opponent on defense, right, if they're only on one guy the whole time, they only use the middle linebacker, Identifier is basically useless. You can see them move around and audible guys and stuff like that. You can see that a little bit if they do that. But a lot of, like some players, not a lot, some players will like randomly like use a D lineman or a cornerback. And in seeing that, if you know, double D lineman where they're going to get like quick pressure otherwise, it's kind of important to your offensive scheme. So It's really good, really huge for information purposes, but there's some games where it's going to be basically useless. And there's, it's kind of hard to get away from abilities. Other than like, set feet lead, pass lead, elite, every single game is going to be incredibly powerful. Same with Hot Route Master. So more of like a incredibly powerful ability, but there are times where it doesn't matter. And that's why it only got A tier for me. Long range Deadeye, it's everything is going to be accurate, which is really nice. Matchup Nightmare, that's like okay. I think with the amount of lurk artists we're seeing out there, I think Matchup Nightmare is pretty good now. I don't think it's as OP as it was when it first launched. Was that like 4 or 5 years ago? What year was that? Tex would know. Gift wrap. Now, gift wrap prior to last patch, or was that 2 patches ago? They came kind of quick for me. I don't know. Memory's a bitch. But gift wrapped was insanely overpowered. Okay, it was the best. Like, it was an S tier ability without a doubt. You needed it to catch the ball, basically, on offense. You also could take a hit stick with gift wrapped and you wouldn't go. High points, caught him easily. Right now, you don't actually need gift wrapped. I think it's still good, and that's why it's an A tier, but it's no longer necessary. You can catch the ball, you can hang out of the ball in traffic really well without it either. So gift wrapped, I don't even have my quarterback right now with Hot Rod Master and Gunslinger. It's nice. It's really nice, okay? Next up, Fearless. I think like under pressure penalty is still there, but you'll see when I talk about the under pressure chem, they definitely nerfed it. So I feel like Fearless, it would have been S tier. It was S tier last year when it was absolutely needed, but I don't see it as much this year. But it is still a nice thing to have. I'm not sure it's better than a lot of the other S tier abilities, so that's why it's an A tier. Honorary Lineman for a runner, really powerful to help out on the outside blocks. Run off elite, same thing. If you're running the ball and your opponent's in man coverage, run off elite will literally take them basically to the end zone. It's crazy. You got to call the right runs, the ones with like the running without the wide receivers blocking right away, but the ones with them actually running off. Energizer is really nice because like I just talked about how powerful jukes are, especially with jukebox. And basically, like, you can get all your stamina back and just, like, keep sprinting at full speed after doing moves. And so it's incredibly powerful to get down the field like that, off of the most powerful offensive skill, like right stick skill. And then in B tier, I'm not going to go through all of them, I don't think. Just some highlights. Post up. I've seen a lot of 3-man rushes, and I've seen a lot of double teams being split, so If the meta ever switches back to a 3-man rush where I see it more often, now I see 3-man rushes probably once every 4 games now. I think guys will run 3-mans against me frequently. Post up could come back into the meta, but as of now, I feel like it's a little too rare to get a 3-man rush to really go into post up too much. And then I like another one to talk about, Route Tech. Route Tech is good for beating man coverage, but the issue is you don't really need Route Tech to beat man coverage this year, because like, as long as you know the right routes, right? If you're in bunch, trips have some really good beats. Like every single formation, if you know what you're doing, can beat man. The issue is man will sometimes randomly lock you up. Whereas Route Tech, it'll basically say, all right, your man's not going to beat me. Yeah, I will get open. But I think with enough man-beating routes and enough of the pre-snap reads, you can beat man without Route Tech this year, which was not the case last year. And that's why, like, one step inside shade, outside shade got taken down a notch for me from S tier to here, because you don't see like guys running this because you don't really see a lot of Route Tech. Whereas these things with a counter for Route Tech, since you don't see it, you no longer really had, and plus they're high on AP, one step inside and outside shade. Yeah, we talked about a lot of that. C tier, anything you want to talk about here? They're okay, I think. Dashing Deadeye, you guys like that Mahomes side throw animation? You need Dashing Deadeye, and that's the only reason it's in C tier. It's capped at 40 yards, where something like Roaming Deadeye, as long as you let up off of the right trigger when you're running outside the pocket, let off it for like a half second, then throw the ball, it's going to be perfectly accurate with roaming. It's so incredibly good, especially if you like know how to roll out glitch people by double teaming the defensive end with the tight end they're blocking. So that is basically the offensive abilities I'd use. Let me know what you guys think about that. Defense now. Film studies should not be in the game. This is dumb. I hate it. It's the worst thing ever. I don't know why it's here still. It should have been gone years ago. Lurk Artist on linebackers. It single-handedly took linebackers from unusable to some of the best defenders in the entire game. Lurk Artist is a combination of Pick Artist and Lurker, so they can jump and they can get interceptions, and it's only 1 AP in Mutt. Whereas Pick Artist is 2 AP for some reason on defensive backs. So defensive backs still drop the ball like crazy. Pick Artist should definitely be only 1 AP. Should actually be free on everybody. Guys should just catch the ball. If you throw into traffic, you should be punished. There should be no if, and, buts about it. Right? Defenders, do you know how hard it is to get your hands on the balls as a defender? Incredibly. Okay? Incredibly. The balls are the neck of the lower body. So that's why Lurk Artist is so good. That's why I have 3 of them in my defense. So that way I can call a combination of coverages. I like to sometimes put Ken Hendricks or Luke Kuechly on a defensive line and then User dropping the coverage. People run Lurk Artist on the edges and 6-1, put them on hard flats, pick off, whether it's bubbles, whether it's whatever, flat routes. They're incredibly powerful there, especially on somebody tall like Ted Hendricks. He's incredibly nice. So, anyways, the only other abilities that are really good on defense are deep out, deep in, and inside stuff. I should almost like skip a category because I feel like how bad defense AP is. It's almost like this. This is probably how I design. I'd almost move, if this was the case, I'd probably put inside stuff at tier A then. That's basically the defense and how weak defense is this year. They nerfed almost everything on defense. Like even deep out and deep in got nerfed, but at least they're still working. At least they're still working, and that's why I run them. And I've been running for a while. I saw in the last comp tournament, people stole the Fox D with deep outs. I'm just kidding. They probably discovered it too at the same time. How cool they are. But anyways, B tier. The only reason mid zone and flat zone KO are here is because they actually like work. The issue with mid zone and flat zone KO is they're so close to the ball that the ball is out of the quarterback's hands and to the receiver so quick, sometimes these guys can't react in time. But they are nice to collide into somebody and knock them out after they receive the ball, and that's why they kind of go B tier / A tier for me. Let's just go ahead and put them all back into A tier to send them down one. As it looks weird with a tier completely gone. Strip specialist, I talked about. You go against a lot of guys that are running around the field holding RB, and strip specialist does help a little bit. And I wonder if like you go hold deep on a strip specialist and just like hold stripping on aggressive. We do like aggressive strippers here, and maybe that's too many. Out my way for going against the run. That's great on a nickel corner, outside corner, running into tight ends and just blowing them over. Tackle Supreme is a combination of secure tackler and unfakeable, which are nice because unfakeable with all the jukes. The issue is the long jukes will still beat you because of movements, but at least Tackle Supreme can help a little bit. Pick Artist, it's good for defensive backs. Problem is it's 2 AP and Mutt, but otherwise allowing a guy to catch a ball is so important in this. Drops are so frequent in online gameplay. It's annoying. And then for man abilities, bench press, that's one of those that recently got reconfigured. I forgot what it's called, but we got like a new bench press. Is it like, I don't know what it's called, Destroyer, maybe it's Disruptor, I don't know, one of those, but they remaneuver bench press. I don't think bench press is that good right now, but we'll get a new bench press with a new name because they can sell us on it down the road a little bit. Deflator Crusher, they're great for causing fatigue penalties. And once you get a guy fatigued, if you hit stick them again, they do have a good chance of popping the ball loose. So Deflator Crusher do have their spots on defense, but hit sticks traditionally in Madden 24 haven't been good. I think right now they're fine though. I think I've caused a couple fumbles in the last few days on hit sticks that I'm like, you know what? They might be back. Ronnie Lott's has been popping some fools. Stonewall is a solid 1 AP ability in Mutt. Don't allow guys go forward or fall forward on you. No outsiders. Doesn't really work that well against stretch, but it does okay. It's very inconsistent where it's like inside stuff. Unless somebody double teams the guy, that's why 2 inside stuffs are oftentimes you want them. No outsiders doesn't really activate as good as you want. El Toro's okay under pressure, like I talked about, not nearly as good this year. One step, the shades, interior threat, secure detector. Interior threat's weird. Like I had an Aaron Donald interior threat destroy me on like a 3-man pass rush, just kept splitting double teams. But then I used it on Aaron Donald, like even one-on-one. I was like, it's not that good. I have edge threats all the way here because I hate what they did to him. Edge threats, they're no longer a threat. They're basically a waste of AP. Double or nothing, same thing. Double or nothing's actually a net negative to your team. Like, because double or nothing does nothing, your guy's going to end up getting pancaked once he runs out of pass rush points because he used it all up, not getting any sheds or getting sheds super late. And so double or nothing's actually probably even worse than edge threats. So defensive ones, kind of weak outside of a few, in my opinion. Offensive ones, there's a lot of powerful things in the game right now. Whether you're a runner, whether you're a passer, you better be putting up points. If you're not, I'm very disappointed in you. Watch, become a member on my channel, get the ebooks, and succeed at life. Bye.